for me, what I'm an astrologer and a numerologist, right? So that's mostly what I practice, right?
Hmm.
So I'm kind of here to talk about numerology and astrology a little bit. Now, as far as topics, I was kind of just making notes really quick. But I don't know if you want me to talk about the numerology side or astrology side because they can be a little bit different.
Well, let's. Although I don't really partake in either, but let's hear about the astrology side since we're talking about kind of some constellation talk.
So, as far as the astrology side, the most recent event that happened in history is a basically a placement called K2, and K2 is a eclipse, right? So when the lunar eclipse went over Britain, that is when the raise the flag event or raise the colors event happened. It happened during the lunar eclipse of K2. And what K2 was moving through was Leo, and because it was moving through Leo, it essentially made the planets it basically made people want to become more nationalist again. It brought back nationalism in a sense.
And what are you basing that on? Like, is there, if you're looking at astrology, is
Well,
there a history of this that you're seeing a pattern?
yes. So whenever there's like if you have someone with a lot of Leo placements, especially when it's in K2, because K2 is like your highest goals in life, your highest points.
Hmm.
It's mountains. You have to climb a mountain. In order to do that, essentially whenever it's around MAGA or Leo, that is the point of royalty in the nakshatra system or the system of astrology.
So you're saying now that because of that, there's been a rise in nationalism.
Yes.
Uh,
And
Go on. Sorry.
sorry, I was trying to get more notes before I got on here. The you can also look at like other points in history where like Saturn will go into Leo, so that means that like more people will get into like kind of nationalist work because Saturn is the workplace. Or like you can see how different transits essentially affect how people are going to go in mass scales.
Okay, you brought up Saturn. What? Any thoughts on like Saturn worshippers? Does that fall into your purview at all?
The thing with Saturn worshippers is that people are gonna have to worship Saturn because Saturn is essentially hard work, manual labor, and slavery. So you have to go through all this kind of pain and suffering, and it's basically the planet people want to worship because it makes people want to work.
When you say they're going to have to, what do you mean? Like you're saying
Like it's
globally?
the yeah, globally because we live on Earth and the planets move around us, and because the planets move around us, they basically affect how we move. So whenever Saturn goes into Leo or Saturn goes into certain signs, people are going to want to work more.
It seems like the Saturn worshippers, as far as I know, kind of promote worldwide slavery, which kind of
Yes.
is like working. And I'm not gonna worship that. If you get into like the whole black cube aspect of the Saturn worship and how that shows up around everywhere in all cultures and many religions, and what it means to contain existence within the cube and structure, much like how it looks from the Borg in Star Trek. Uh, I don't want anything to do with that because it seems antithetical to free will.
Yes, it is in a sense, right? Because the part of it that they're giving this power planet, right? They're worshiping this planet to basically give it power over us and basically have more control over us.
Do you think of so thinking of this? What do you think about like NASA doing something like the Apophis rockets? Did you follow that story at all?
No, I have not.
Do you know what
But if
Apophis
you would
is?
if you would explain it to me, I might be able to have a
Yeah,
take
so
on it.
you brought up the eclipse, right? And I guess it was 2 Aprils ago we had that solar eclipse, and on that same day, NASA launched these rockets towards the eclipse. They named it Apophis, I believe. There's two different names for Apophis. I can't remember the other one, but whatever. They both mean the Egyptian god of chaos. So what do you think of something like that? NASA conducting what seems to me like a ritual into the solar eclipse while using the name of a god of chaos.
Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense because what people don't understand is you have the lunar eclipse K2, which is intuition. It's moving directionlessly. It's being quiet and silent. It's the sign of this. It's the planet of the serial killer, actually, I should say. Now, Rahu is the planet of the killer that's out at front. It's the soldier. It's the guy that's on the front line. It's the guy that smokes and, it's the smoke screen. It's the violent and the yelling and the raging. So it is a very chaotic thing to be for the solar eclipse. The solar eclipse is chaotic, where the lunar eclipse is more like a serial killer.
And any thoughts on this three-eye atlas thing that's coming towards Earth?
I think I missed some of that. I kind of got here a little bit late.
Oh, it's all good.
This is my first time watching you guys. So.
Well, thank you, and thank you for being here and calling in. There's what they're calling a hostile probe moving through space towards Earth. So I was curious if that fell into any of your research.
A hostile probe moving towards Earth. Maybe there's some kind of maybe it is a ritual, right? Because a lot of these planetary things. Mm-hmm. You'd want to do planetary rituals, right? By giving people more attention to it through the collective consciousness. So, I mean, there could be something there.
Okay. And are you saying that you think we should be worshiping Saturn, or is that something that you're saying other people are thinking?
I think Saturn is a form in our reality of life, right? Like you're always going to need people to work hard, but you're also going to need freedom. Now, what planet gives freedom? It's Mercury. Mercury is freedom. Mercury is the want and will to communicate.
Yeah, I mean, I have a hard time buying into that stuff, but I do also know that a lot of people believe in it, especially the Saturn stuff. The more I'm looking into it, that stuff I think is actually detrimental and evil. The way people are saying that we should be worshiping the Saturn worshipers, the people who basically want to be a god, who want to control time and contain existence. Mm-hmm. It seems like what they're promoting is worldwide slavery. Like we will be a labor camp.
Saturn is actually the slowest moving planet around us, right? If you were to look at all the 7 main luminaries, right, excluding Neptune and Uranus and Pluto, the 7 main luminaries, the farthest planet you can see is Saturn, and it's actually the slowest moving planet. It moves maybe like it basically takes like a full month to move 1 degree.
So what does that?
So it takes a full month.
What does that mean? What does that mean to you in terms of all this?
Meaning that is the planet of time. So that's another reason why people want to worship Saturn, is because it's the control of time too.
It's wild stuff, man. Do you have anything else you want to add?
Anything else I want to add? Would you be willing to give your birthday for a numerology reading?
Oof, I don't want to partake in this.
If the other co-host would be up to, I'd be happy to.
I am not an astrology guy, but I appreciate it. It's more of Shane's ballpark, the heavens, not me.
Yeah,
I appreciate it though, brother.
But if you guys would like one, I'd be happy to give you guys one.
Well, I'm good, but you can always call back. I'm interested in this stuff. I really don't partake in it. But like I said, a lot of people take this stuff very seriously, and the Saturn stuff is very interesting and I think concerning. And I don't think people are aware of how much the Saturn stuff in particular, I mean, a lot of this, but the Saturn stuff in particular plays such a major role in our lives today. And
it does.
Especially
when it pertains to sacrifice, right? For instance, because Saturn takes so long, sometimes they will wait 35 years to sacrifice people in the name of Saturn.
Right. So they have a different concept of time, which then connects to the idea of these transhumanists, and I think some of them are Saturn worshippers. I mean, literally, I think Elon is a Saturn worshiper. Go look at what Grok looks like, the image of Grok.
And to do that, you have to understand the metric in which we base time. The metric in which we base time is traditionally either the moon or it is the sun. Mm-hmm. So the sun is the base metric. That is the Gregorian calendar. That's where you take the sun, and then it takes it moves 1 degree a day, and the chart is 360 degrees. So that's why we have 360 days in a year.
Yeah, and then they're looking at it like they have a much longer timeline, maybe even a longer lifespan, as in a transhumanist. So even their idea of consequences are different. So when you're talking about this 35 year of planning a sacrifice, I believe that that's happening. I believe they plan out things way in advance. I mean, we know just different governments war gaming things out before they happen, and really like looking at all of us like it's a giant chessboard. And so like when I say Saturn worshipers, and there's big ones like right now, I tend to think Elon is one. The Grok image looks like Saturn. He says it's something else, but I think these guys do kind of worship that stuff.
It is Saturn.
It's totally Saturn.
It is.
It's like
It is.
Don't lie
It's
to
a
me.
joke if they tell you otherwise.
Right.
Like, these people study astrology. They understand this stuff because astrology is the best metric for time. Even if you don't learn astrology, astronomy still helps, because how do you even know how long our calendar is or how it was made if you don't understand even the basics of astronomy?
Yeah. I had a friend who was deeply into astrology and astronomy. Very interesting lady, but she also was. We're no longer friends, and it's not because of this really. But she was, as it turned out, a witch. Not something I knew earlier on, but when that was exposed, and my life went in a different way, becoming a Christian, me and her really drifted apart. She's a much older lady, a family friend, but it was very bizarre, the stuff that she was really getting into. And I think the witchcraft aspect, we were just talking about it, extremely dangerous stuff.
Yeah, and magic is very real, right? Like, you can literally go into the CIA Project Gateway tapes, right? And the Project Gateway tapes are actual training tapes to teach you how to remote view and practice magic. And I'm not talking about like some stuff. It's actually very real and more concrete than other forms of practicing.
Absolutely. We did a show on that about a year ago, and they've had remote viewers try to remote view Mars. Honestly, I was just thinking about this before the show started. I'm surprised we haven't seen the government have a remote viewer try to remote view this hostile probe I was telling you about. They probably are. They're just not telling us about it.
They wouldn't, because our government wants no business with psychics. There's a podcast you can even watch. It was his guy is named Joe McMongle, and
Yep.
he was the first guy to do the remote viewing project, right?
Yep.
And he even talks about like all of his experiences. It's a very profound episode if you watch it. It's on the Sean Ryan podcast.
I watched. I mean, he did that one on the day he was supposed to die, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a 5-hour podcast.
Yeah,
but,
it is very profound though. It's
No,
very
yeah,
profound.
and a lot of those remote viewers that our government hired happen to be Scientologists.
Yeah, or just people that were in the occult in general, like Satanists, or because the occult is hidden. The occult in astrology is the 8th house. So the 8th house is what you keep secret. It's what you keep hidden. It's the skeletons in your closet.
Yep.
And it's naturally ruled by the sign of Scorpio, which is hidden underground.
Yeah, that's their currency. That's the occult. It's the hidden, right? And I don't think it's unique to just like one sect of society. I do think it's widespread. I do think it's a lot of elites, and it's interesting stuff. Well, I appreciate the phone call, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Fascinating stuff, and feel free to call back.
Of course.
Awesome, man. Have a good night.
You too.